What drew you to this field of pretrial and probation?
I was going to school and I was thinking I wanted to get involved in law enforcement, but then I did an internship with a federally funded halfway house. This was back when I was living in San Antonio, Texas, did an internship. Uh, I got to see hands-on how community supervision was being handled, and it kind of just it caught my attention as to this is the way most people that are getting involved with the criminal justice system are actually involved with the criminal justice system. There's only so much jail time a person can do, and it's what you do when you get out and moving forward that has the most impact on their life. So that's what kind of drew me to the field of community supervision, and I've been involved with it since 1999. So I've kind of seen the evolution of different changes.
Well, that is the perfect bridge to the next question, which
Okay.
is how has your role changed over time, especially since you've been at it for a while now?
Well, it's changed dramatically, especially from coming from a prison-based system in Texas. I started working after I finished college. I worked for the Pardons and Parole Board as a parole officer. So there really wasn't a lot of training. There really wasn't a lot of expectations on us helping the parolees re-enter into society. It was almost a revolving door, sending them back to prison. So moving forward to Seattle, seeing how things were a little bit different, it did take a while for me to unlearn what I had been doing for 5 years and take on a new approach into seeing how we evolve. I remember having a conversation with the late great Judge Bonner when I was doing community court with him. He also being from Texas. He says, I know how things were. I know how you got trained. And he says, we have to do things differently. Let's not look at the crime, but let's look at the individual and try and figure out what the underlying sources of the problems are. That really changed how I looked at my job moving forward. It's looking at the individual, not looking at the crime, trying to figure out is the reason they're here the result of a lot of bad choices, a lot of underutilized or non-addressed resources, or is this the beginning of a bad road? So that has helped me out.
Can you tell us about your most memorable experience in working with a client?
Yeah, it was unfortunately it didn't end well, but last year I was working with the client. He got picked up for a DUI. Unfortunately at that time he and his mother were homeless and living in their car, and he was towards the tail end of that time in an opiate addiction. So when he was moving his car around, he was under the influence. He was self-medicating for some non-treated mental health issues. And he got pulled over, and of course, they did a blood draw and found that he was over the limit. So, in working with him, the first day I got him, it was pretty intense. He was not happy. He was very volatile, very angry. And it wasn't until maybe after the first or second appointment that I just kind of sensed he's misunderstood. Well, he hasn't been heard. He hasn't. I mean, everyone through the course has probably listened to him, but they haven't heard what the issues were. And then something clicked. I can't explain exactly what it was, but we started working well. We built a rapport, and all of his UAs from that point were clean. They were clean for about a whole year. We were able to identify that it wasn't so much a chemical dependency issue, but rather a mental health issue. And this was something he was trying to express to his attorney and to the court throughout the whole process. It's just he wasn't heard. He would grow angry, and he didn't get a lot of attention. So fortunately, we talked it out. I spoke to his mental health counselor, and we were able to approach the court and indicate that it was a mental health issue, not a chemical dependency issue. So we were able to get the chemical dependency component changed to mental health. So he stayed clean. He finished off his probation. But unfortunately, the earlier part of this year, his mother did get in contact with me and let me know that he did pass away. Uh, the opiate addiction came back. But just to have worked with him, she thanked me for working with him, for listening to him, just knowing that for some reason we were able to connect. And he did have some clean time. He did have some progress in the last year of his short life. So that was memorable. As sad as it was, I do see where we played a big role in maybe extending his life by at least a year.
That must have been really powerful to talk. As a mother, I can imagine how grateful I would have been to have that extra time. And so I'm glad
Yes.
she reached out to you to let you know
Yes,
how
she
much she
did.
appreciated it.
Yes, it was very, it wasn't a conversation I wanted to have. I was sad and it really had an impact on me that day, but just being able to reach out to his mother and her share with me her gratitude for working with her son. So I look at public safety as these people making mistakes in their lives. They're going to return to the community. What can we do to provide them with the resources so that they can be citizens that aren't causing issues, that aren't causing problems, that are productive and being reintegrated into society? Because it doesn't take any of us very long to dig deep into our family circles or friendship circles to find someone who's been involved with the criminal justice system, who has mental health issues, who has addiction issues. And it takes us to look within ourselves to think, okay, if they're involved with that type of process, how could they have been served better? And that's one of the key points I look at when I'm working with somebody.